Okay, so we're going to start standing, and some of the movements today may look a little bit like an 80s aerobic workout. We're going to be working on the pelvis, so we're going to be doing some hip thrusting, that kind of thing. So if you don't feel comfortable with other people observing you, maybe you should ask them just to leave the room, but otherwise it's going to be a really good session for your whole spine. So I just want you to start standing with your feet shoulder width apart and just give your body like a little shake. Allow yourself to get some feedback from your muscles going to your brain. Every single time you move your muscles, it sends little bits of information going up to your conscious awareness saying, hello, I'm here, I'm this long, I'm quite tight, or I'm loose, and it just starts to stimulate your nervous system. So I'd just like you to start moving your knees, start moving your ankles, and just notice how that feels in your body. So for all those who've joined, just stand with your feet just shoulder width apart. Begin to start moving your weight left to right, shake your knees, shake out your spine, just get in touch with your body before we start today's session. I want you to light up your bodies to your brain and become aware of what's going on inside your body. Okay, so now we're going to take some nice deep breaths, so just standing. And before we take those deep breaths, I'd just like you to close your eyes while you're standing, paying attention to where your weight is on your feet. Is your weight in the front of your feet, or is it in your heels? Is your weight on the outside of your foot, or the inside? Are all your toes contributing to the floor equally? Keep your eyes closed while you ask yourself these questions. That allows you to be much more aware of what's going on inside your body, takes out all the visual information that we rely on most of our days. And then ask yourself, is my weight equal left to right? Have I got equal weight on my left foot to my right foot? I'm actually standing a little bit more on my right foot than my left. It's kind of 60-40 right to left, so I'm just going to adjust that. And once you become aware of where you're standing, I want you to make a small adjustment in your hips. So in your pelvis, I want you to move it from side to side and forward and backward, and just notice how those subtle movements change the way in which your feet are contacting the floor. So before we start, I'd like you to do those movements with the pelvis, side to side, forwards and backwards, and find a position where you're standing, which is equal front to back, so heels to toes, and equal left to right. So you're standing very grounded with 50-50 weight equal, and 50-50 weight equal front to back as well. So after you have found that position, with nice grounded weights, just feel how it connects you to the ground and feel if that's unfamiliar. If it's unfamiliar, then you may be prioritizing one of your limbs way more during your everyday life than the other one. So from this position, we're going to go into flexion. So for this movement, I need you to start with the very top vertebrae in your spine. This is a forward bending movement, an opening movement for the joints, and it starts with tucking in the chin. So give yourself some double chins and stretch out the muscles at the back of the head. There's very commonly these muscles cause headaches in people. So if you're feeling a stretch at the back of the head, this is going to be really useful for you to do. I know it looks a bit strange, but it's very good. So tucking in the chin and starting to roll down in the neck. And I don't want to see anybody who's rolling down in the spine before they're going in the neck. So you need to be going in sequence from top to bottom, rolling down as if you're peeling yourself off the wall. Nice and slowly at first. Keep checking in on that head. It will want to look up, but I don't want you to let it. Just keep it relaxed. When you get to the bottom, bend your knees so it's not a hamstring stretch. This is an opening movement, and we're going to come back up again. Coming back up and finishing last with your head. Next, when you've finished at the top, if you're not too dizzy, go back into extension, allowing your pelvis to come forwards here so it doesn't compress the joints too much, engaging the glutes a little bit. That will be protective for the lower back. Coming back and back into that roll down. Let's get that spine opened and waking up. Coming back up to the top. Looking up towards the ceiling. And arching. This is a very closing movement for the joints, so if you're feeling too much pressure, just do less, that's fine. If there's pain, it's pain telling you to adjust. should be a pleasant sensation. And some pains are pleasant, you know, like stretching pain can be nice sometimes. So we're going to do this 3 more times, arching and looking down. Remember that chin tuck as you come down, rolling, opening up those joints. Are there any parts of your spine that feel like they're moving less than others? For me, it's my mid-back today. I feel like my mid-back in here just isn't quite bending backwards as I'd like it to. So that's 2 more times. We're going to speed these up a little bit. If you're getting dizzy, just stop, take a break, pause until you get back to normal, and then start again. A little bit faster with these last 2. 1 and 2. Great, okay, then we're going into side bending. So, dropping your ear down towards your shoulder. We're just going to start with the neck with this one. Now, if this is causing any pressure on the side that you're going towards, I would like you to try and do an arc over. So you're trying to sort of lift your head towards the sky before you bend over. What that will do is that will stretch the muscles on the other side, and it will load the joints on the side you're bending towards a little bit less, and it should be more comfortable for you. Don't just isolate to the neck, allow it to bend into the upper back between the shoulder blades a little bit, and keep it comfortable. It's very important with this movement that you don't experience any repetitive pain on the side you're bending towards. It should be a stretch on the side you're bending away from. So we're going to repeat this another 5 times. Sorry, 6 times, so we're equal each side. 1, 1, 2, 2, and if you want to bend forwards a little bit, that's fine. 3, 3, and rest. Okay, so next we're going to move into a rotation movement. So again, thinking about starting from the head and then following with the rest of the body. So I don't want to see anybody rotating with the rest of their body, leaving their head behind. It should be concentrated on being sequential from top to bottom. So looking with the head first, and get the eyes to lead the movement. Your eyes are often the first thing that direct movement, and follow that movement all the way down to your feet, and just notice how your feet have to help with that movement at the end of that range, just to get you into that final part. Coming back, repeating the same on the other side. We're going to do this relatively quickly, and I'd like you to try and lead the movement at all times with the head. So look where you're going before you get there, and just see if each time you repeat it, you can make it a little bit easier for yourself. Trying to loosen your body into this movement rather than just trying to push into the maximum range. Asking yourself each time, can I do this a little bit better? Can I do this a little bit more comfortably? Is there any areas of my body that I can free up a little bit more, just to get a little bit further around? Are your shoulders coming with you evenly when you're doing this movement? Or are they kind of lagging behind a little bit? 3 more times with this. 1, 2, 3, and come back to the center. Okay, so hopefully your spine feels a little bit woke up now. So we're going to go into some specific movements for the neck, then the mid-back, and then the lower back. Okay? So the first movement for the neck that we're going to go through is going to be looking up towards the ceiling. Now for this, if you were here last time, remember, if you want to protect the joints, jam your tongue to the roof of your mouth. So close your jaw, tongue to the roof of your mouth, and looking up towards the ceiling. You should feel a stretch in the muscles at the front of the neck. These often don't get stretched, and we want to loosen them up. 1, 2, we're going to do this 10 times. 3, keep that jaw closed, that tongue at the top. 4, 5, you shouldn't feel pressure at the back of the neck. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, next, looking down with the neck. Tucking that chin in, feeling a little stretch. I want you to finish with the chin at the end as well. So tucking that chin in, directing it down, coming back up. Strange looking movement, I know, but it's very good for the joints. Okay, fantastic. 3, going to do 10 of these as well. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now circles with the neck. So what you're aiming to do is get the stretch to be felt into the shoulder here, and then move that stretch all the way around your neck. So start by directing your chin down towards your armpit on the opposite side, and play with a little bit of rotation until you start to feel a stretch on the side of your neck here. Keep that stretch mild, so 2 or 3 out of 10, because we're going to be getting it to go all the way around. Keep that jaw closed and go, bring your chin down, feel that stretch move around the back of your neck, bring it up again. You shouldn't be feeling any pressure sensations. You should, if you're feeling pressure, adjust. Play with the movement so it's comfortable for your neck. We're going to do this 5 times. That's 2, 3, and I'm just noticing that I'm actually getting some mucus clearing from my sinuses right now, and the muscles in the neck, if they're tight, often stop mucus from being able to drain down your esophagus, which is a normal passage of drainage from your sinuses. 4, I think that's 4, I've lost count. Let's do 2 more. 1, 2, fantastic. Come back to the center. So anybody who's feeling dizzy, take a break. Absolutely fine. Okay, so now for the mid-back, we're going to start to breathe. The ribs are assisting the movement at all times of the part of your back between your shoulder blades. So the first thing we're going to do, placing your hand on your chest and one hand on your back if you can. I want you to breathe in, pushing both hands outwards as you do so. Lifting the chest. We're going to do this 5 times. Deep breaths. And lift your chest and allow that to extend in the back as you do so. 2, 3 more. 1, 2, breathing through the nose. 3, okay, fantastic. Coming back. Next, we're going to be side bending. I'm actually a little bit lightheaded after that, so I'm going to take a small moment to pause, allow my blood to just settle before I go into these side bends. Shake it out a little bit. Okay, so now going into the side bends, one arm's going to reach up, one arm's going to reach down. 1, 2, and you should feel this in between your shoulder blades. 3, and also maybe in the lower back a little bit as well. 4, 5, we're going to do this 10 times. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fantastic. Okay, now one arm forwards, one arm back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Try and keep your hips facing forwards. 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to do 5 more of these. These feel really good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, fantastic. Come back and rest. Okay, so now for the lower back. Lower back, if you want to access that, you have to access your hips. This controls and moves the lower back directly. So the first movement we're going to do is dropping the hips from side to side. And I want the upper body to remain relatively static while you're doing this movement. And it's quite a difficult movement to coordinate, and it's easier if you bend your knees slightly. So, keep those shoulders static. Feel the muscle activation in your lower back. We're going to be doing this for another 20 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See if each time you can get better coordination. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Feel your feet. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Next movement is going to be a flexion extension movement. So this, you need your knees to be nice and soft, and you're going to be using your glutes and your lower abdominal muscles to get this movement done. And it's an opening movement. So just like the 80s aerobics classes, right? We did a lot of hip thrusts. This is a vital movement if you want to open and close the joints in your lower back. And I'm going to show you a variation seated that I give to people with lower back pain all the time. So try and really get the maximum range out of your lower back when you're doing this. Allow the rest of your spine to contribute, so you can arch a little bit as you go back, flex a little bit as you go forwards, but make sure the movement is initiated from the pelvis. And we're going to be doing this for another 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now circles. So again, you're trying to keep your upper body still as you're moving your pelvis, okay? So, trying to move in circles, including that hip thrust in the circle as you go forwards. So as you're going forwards, you're trying to engage the glutes, getting that flexion and extension movement through the lower back. Keep your knees nice and soft. And again, we're going to do this for another 15 seconds, okay? So 1, 2, 3, keep the upper body still, 4, knees soft, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, I said 15, didn't I? I'm over counting. Okay, let's go to all fours now. So, shake out your body a little bit, check in on how your spine feels. Hopefully you're much more aware of what your spine is doing from the lower back all the way up to the neck now. Notice how that feels. Okay, so now in all fours position, we're going to go into a flexion and extension movement. Hopefully you can all see me there. Let me just point you downwards a little bit here. There you go. Okay, so in all fours, cat and cow now. So this one, you want to tuck your chin in just like you did with the previous movement. And you also want to engage your glutes and your lower abdomen to tilt the pelvis at the same time as pushing away from the floor, opening up all the joints in your spine. This is the cow. And going into the cat, you want to do precisely the opposite. Dropping your shoulder blades together, tilting your pelvis the other way, and try to create space. And we're going to repeat this another 10 times. 1, 2, you should feel a stretch. 2, a comfortable stretch. 3, 4, get those shoulder blades involved. 4, 5, 6, 7, get those hips involved. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, now into side bending. So this movement is a little bit more unusual, and you're going to be trying to reduce the space between your hips and your ribs on one side of your body. So you're trying to get your head to touch your hips. Coming back and doing the same on the other side. Head to touch the hips. And we're going to repeat this again 10 times, but 10 times in total this time. So hopefully you can see that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure those hips are contributing. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and shake out your spine, shake out your shoulders. And we're going to come now into a Sphinx position. So Sphinx will start lying on your front with your elbows just by your last ribs. So you want your elbows to be down by your sides, and you're lying nice face down. And what you're going to do is have your palms downwards and your toes just tucked underneath there. I want you to slightly engage your buttock muscles. So these will stabilize and protect your lower back. And then I want you to lift from the head. So you're thinking about that top-down, neck-first movement again. And you should not feel any pressure going into your lower back. I want it to come into the mid part of your back, in between your shoulder blades. It's not a big movement. This is about coordination, not range. I want you to get an increase in range in here, not down here. So, lifting your chest forwards, pushing the ground away, and chin up. Again, keep your jaw closed for this if you want a bit more of a stretch. We're going to repeat this another 7 times, okay? So, coming all the way up. Each time, just try and get it focused into that mid-back a little bit more. 1, 2, and if it's painful, do less. 3, try and coordinate yourself better. 4, for me it's about bringing that chest bone forwards. 5, 6, 7. And come back now into child's pose. So separating your knees to clear room for your pelvis, leaving your arms behind and just bringing your pelvis down towards your heels. Adjust the knee position if you're finding it's pinching. And just rest here for a minute. Find a comfortable position. Feel free to adjust. Some nice adjustments you can make are rotating the spine, widening the knees, narrowing the knees. I found a nice comfortable position here. And we're going to take 5 breaths here. So breathing nice and deep and relaxing as you breathe out. Last breath. Okay. Now gently coming forwards into all fours. Tucking your toes underneath. And you're going to go into downward dog. So pushing your buttock away from your hands. You're trying to aim your buttock towards the sky. And my hamstrings are really, really tight, so I need to bend my knees and bend my ankles with this movement, and it's fine to do so. This movement is about the spine, not about the hamstrings. So it's all about getting that straight spine, that line between your buttock and your head to be straight, pushing away the ground with your shoulders, and coming back into all fours, and pushing back into that position again. Good. I'm going to do this 3 more times. So back into all fours, looking up, looking down, pushing back through into downward facing dog. And 1 more. Sorry, I said 3, didn't I? So we're going to do 2 more. 1, 2, and come back to tabletop. If your wrists are painful, sit back, move them out, and we're going to go back into standing. So, standing up, and the last thing we're going to do today, let me just check the time. Oh, we've got 8 minutes, great. Okay, so, now your spine is thoroughly moved, and you should have feeling your spine from the top to bottom now. So we're going to start to use it in a movement that you're going to be doing throughout your everyday life. And that is reaching. We all drop things on the floor, we all need to reach high into cupboards. But the reaches we're going to do are just going to be a little bit wider and a little bit more exaggerated than you may do in your normal everyday life. Okay? So the first reaches we're going to do with soft knees. This will help you to move your whole body and allow everything to contribute to this movement. You're going to reach with your right hand down towards your left foot. And then you're going to reach with your left hand up towards the sky on the opposite side. Okay, so take a moment, take a breath, and we're going to do 20 of these. Okay, so the first repetition looks like this. Reach down, reach up, and then you go down into the opposite. Reach down, reach up. Yes, coordination will get a little bit difficult at points, that is fine. Okay, let's start now. So 20 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's loading your lower back, get your knees more involved. 9, 10. If it's painful, adjust. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Great. Okay, now we're going to reach through straight forwards. Far out as you can. Keep it going. We're going to keep this going for another 10 seconds. If you want a harder workout, reach faster. If you want less, reach slower. Let's go 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My seconds are terrible. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Get those knees involved. 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, upwards reaches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get your spine involved. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, now we're going to reach in between the legs. So keep your knees nice and soft. We're going to do this 10 times. If you need a break, take a break. Absolutely fine. Okay, so arms up, and you're going to swing them in between your legs, okay? So it's really important that you let your whole body do this movement and you're not just locking out your legs and pivoting in the back. It should look like a whole body swing. So you see I'm dropping my knees before I drop my spine. And that will allow your lower back and your legs to coordinate themselves together in a much more useful fashion than just loading your lower back into this movement, okay? So, arms up overhead with your palms facing downwards. Then you're going to swing your arms in between your legs, bending your knees first and swing. 1, knees first, swing. 2, when you come out, use your buttock muscles. 3, thrusting out of that movement. 4, 5, 6, so get your lower backs much stronger. 7, 8, 9, 10, and back to the center, coming down, shake it out, and relax. Okay, how much time have we got? Another 4 minutes. So, we're going to do some stretching to finish. So, before we do that, I just want you to check in on where you are. So, standing with your feet just slightly wider than shoulder width, close your eyes, and just pay attention to how your body feels. I'm certainly more aware of my spine now, and I actually have more even distribution between right and left. I've actually shifted onto my left a bit more than my right now. And see if that sensation is more pleasant, less pleasant than before. I said I'd show you a seated movement, didn't I? Okay, so let's actually finish with that, because this will be useful for your lower backs when you are seated throughout the day. So, it's all about that tilting of the pelvis. So bring yourself to the front of the chair, and I want you to feel your sit bones on the chair. Now for this, if you don't have a chair around you, just practice the tilting while you're standing. And that's that same kind of soft knees, thrusting movement that we did before, that 80s aerobics. So you can do that same movement seated, but it's all about rolling on your sit bones. So tucking in towards your pelvis, towards your sacrum, sorry, so riding over the back of your sit bones will allow your whole spine to flex. And this is a really opening movement, and one we find ourselves in a lot of the time when seated at a desk. So it's the opposite movement that people are less good at practicing from the bottom upwards. And that's just a rolling forwards on your sit bones, that same kind of backwards thrust that you were doing. And if you can practice this on a regular basis throughout your day, tilting, rolling back and forwards on your sit bones, it's exactly the same coordination that we did while you were standing. It will get your lower back to be opening and closing, the muscles will be engaging and relaxing and stretching, blood will be returning to that area, the muscles will become looser, the joints will become happier and less stiff, because our bodies are designed for movement, and so we need to be moving throughout the day in order to keep our bodies happy and pain-free. Usually the pain we get when we're seated is a question for movement. It's your body screaming out saying, I need stretching, or I need blood to this area, or I need movement here. And this one, if you can learn it, will be fantastic for your lower back. So that's where we're going to finish today. If there's anything that you particularly want me to cover for future sessions, please feel free to email myself. My email address, my contact details are on the emails that you get sent with the links to these sessions. And if you want to book a session one-to-one with myself, if you're suffering from any pain or any difficulty, then please feel free to get in touch as well, and we can book a one-to-one session. I'd be more than happy to help anybody out with any of their aches and pains. But otherwise, I hope you have fantastic days, and it was really nice to see you all here. I hopefully see you on Wednesday morning again. And I'm going to stay around for a little bit for questions as well, so feel free to put your questions in the chat box and I'll answer them.